Okay, so I am going to do each week a new video featuring an ingredient, and this week I decided to do a video about hyaluronic acid. It's super common. It's kind of an it ingredient right now, and it has been for a while. So I thought this week I'll do a video featuring hyaluronic acid. So really quick, this is Lori's Beanie Baby, and its name is Wink. So let me see if I can do that. There we go. So this one is Lori's, and I rescued this one from Ike's mouth twice today, so I should get a credit for that. So, okay. So there we go. So let's talk about hyaluronic acid, and actually, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it. So I initially started this video why I hate hyaluronic acid. And it's not necessarily bad. Some people love it, some people hate it, but for face products, I'm just not a huge fan. So let me talk about this for a little bit. I don't necessarily hate it, but in a lot of face products, it ends up doing much more harm than good for so many reasons, just in terms of makeup, aesthetics, sometimes what it even does to skin. So, first of all, pilling. I just dread a good sunscreen that I love when I see hyaluronic acid in it, and the Versed sunscreen, which I really love, their Guards Up sunscreen, it is one of my favorite new sunscreens, and absolutely one of my favorites, especially of this year, because it's pretty new. It's a great sunscreen. However, it is prone to pilling randomly. I can use this 7 days in a row with no pilling, then on the 8th day, it'll pill. The only reason I can suspect is hyaluronic acid is one of the ingredients. Hyaluronic acid is, if you notice a lot of pilling in your routine, hyaluronic acid tends to be the culprit. So I get a lot of comments from people, I'm using this, and this, and it's pilling. What's the story? And I look up, their products, and I tend to end up finding hyaluronic acid in more than one of them. And especially layering products, when they have hyaluronic acid in multiple products, pilling just tends to become more and more noticeable. And it took me a long time to kind of figure that out. When I first started getting into skincare, I'd apply this and that, and I wasn't into crazy layers like I am now, but I noticed pilling, and I just wouldn't be able to figure out. And there was a Murad sunscreen in the purple bottle, very silicone-y, but it pilled all the time, and hyaluronic acid was one of those ingredients. It's also because high molecular weight hyaluronic acid, which is generally, if you see hyaluronic acid or sodium hyaluronate, it's generally high molecular weight unless it says otherwise. But those molecules kind of sit on top of skin because they form a film and they just don't absorb fully. So that also tends to cause pilling when you're having products and ingredients that don't fully absorb and they just kind of sit there, and you add another layer onto it, then you get more pilling. So hyaluronic acid, pilling, it's a common thing. And I love this sunscreen, but I have a feeling I would never have any issues with pilling if it didn't contain that in there. So there we go about that. Another thing is my skin almost doesn't break out to almost any product. That's why I enjoy trying new things all the time. I don't have issues with breaking out. However, hyaluronic acid, for me, tends to suffocate my skin, and products with high amounts of it make it worse. So if I ever break out, I tend to find it was a product that contains a lot of hyaluronic acid. My skin handles almost anything else just fine, except for that. I don't know if it's the fact that it kind of sits on top of your skin. I just find it suffocating for my skin, especially serums that are based around hyaluronic acid, and it just is one of the few ingredients that can cause me to break out. So that's another thing. Reverse dryness is another common thing with hyaluronic acid. So if you use a hyaluronic acid serum, get out of the shower, apply it on damp skin, and then leave it. If you're in a drier climate, you might end up having your skin end up feeling drier had you not even used it at all. That is because hyaluronic acid, it holds I think 1,000 times its weight in water. It absorbs. However, if the air around you is particularly dry and there's no humidity or water in the air to pull that from, it can end up pulling it out of your skin and making your skin feel drier. So if you're going to use a hyaluronic serum, I highly recommend applying something very occlusive, very thick, very hydrating over it to prevent that from happening. Just any thicker products like sleeping masks are great. Ultra rich moisturizers, even like petroleum jelly, things like that. Anything that's super thick, super occlusive, that will help seal the hyaluronic acid in and prevent it from sucking it out of your skin. So that's another common thing with hyaluronic acid. There's one hyaluronic product I really like, which is the Decium or the Chemistry Hyaluronic Tub, which comes in that pump bottle. I love it. It's easy. You apply it when you get out of the shower, which is nice. However, you have to be sure to put a nice moisturizer over it, especially in Minnesota in the wintertime. It is drier than anything. So that's when it can become a problem. So be sure if you're using it to apply something very occlusive, very thick over it. Another thing with hyaluronic acid is there's so many hyaluronic serums, like the Vichy one, Mineral 89, which contains hyaluronic acid, but that's about it. And they focus on that one ingredient, which other than providing some hydration for your skin, it doesn't really do anything else good for your skin. When you first start using it, you might notice your skin looks more plump, wrinkles look a little bit less, but the longer you use it, the less and less you'll notice that. And there's just serums, product brands that just focus on that. I mean, this product, other than water, several slip ingredients, that's about it. Then you've got sodium hyaluronate. That's it. So I feel like brands can get away with charging $30 for a hyaluronic serum, even though the ingredient itself isn't super expensive. And other than moisture, it doesn't do much else for your skin. I mean, it's not a good antioxidant. It's not going to delay aging. It doesn't protect you from the UV rays, anything like that. It's just a lack of anything else exciting. So that's why I get a little bit of a bummer from brands that just overuse hyaluronic acid. At least like The Ordinary, they've got a lot of serums that do have hyaluronic acid in them, but they include something else that makes it more exciting, like the alpha arbutin. So it's kind of a bummer when brands release a serum with hyaluronic acid in them and then not add anything else good into the product. I guess it's not so much a problem with hyaluronic acid in itself, but the brand's just kind of cheapening out. But people buy them because it's like the hip thing. It's in every magazine. It's on all the TV commercials. Hyaluronic acid, you need it for your skin. Look at this L'Oreal hyaluronic acid serum. It's like, that's all it's got going on. It's not super exciting. And you can find other moisturizers like the Ileun's. You know what? Throw in some ceramides or something. If every product, instead of hyaluronic acid, included ceramides, I would be much more excited about products in general, because ceramides actually do something for your skin, and they also hydrates your skin. But it's much more exciting than just hyaluronic acid. And then lastly, I kind of mentioned at the beginning, sunscreens with hyaluronic acid can be a nightmare. Pilling is an issue. Reapplication of them also becomes a huge issue. And a lot of times, if you're applying a foundation over your sunscreen, the foundation might not mesh well or sit well on top of it because the hyaluronic acid is blocking it from kind of getting into your skin and setting nicely. So anyway, this is a product I've had. I love CosRx, and I've got most of their products. I've owned this one for about 6 or 7 months now. You can see how much I used of it, because after the first couple times I used it, it pilled and just didn't do much else for my skin. So sadly, I'm going to have to hand this down to somebody, because just didn't get very much excitement from this. So this is just one example. Vichy one, after I was done testing it, I'll probably never touch it again for myself. I'm sure I'll hand it down to somebody. But hyaluronic acid, in general, in my opinion, totally overrated as an ingredient. I can't wait for next week when I can start talking about some ingredients that are exciting. But first, I thought I would start with this one, since so many people get caught up in the hype, and you shouldn't, because there's just so many other better ingredients to get hyped up about. So anyway, those are my thoughts on hyaluronic acid. I'm interested in hearing from you guys, because I know this might be a little controversial, because I'm sure there are some people that it works great for. But for others, it can be a nightmare. Breakouts, reverse dryness, pilling. It's all real issues. So anyway, I'm interested in hearing from you guys, so leave a comment. I want to have a good discussion of this, so I love hearing from you guys, and stay tuned for more tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys.